Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out. Pleasure to be in the company of Malik Scott in America. And usually, if I've spoken to you before, it'd be in the UK. Just wanted to start off with a bit of UK flavour, because you mentioned in the last interview you got Ezra Taylor coming out against Willie Hutchinson, a tough fighter. Willie Hutchinson is also Ezra Taylor is. What's the key for him in that fight to get the victory over Willie Hutchinson?
Well, not to give the game plan a lot. Not to give the game plan away too much. Ezra Taylor has to continue to do what he's doing. That's working hard, listening to his coach, being a sponge for knowledge, treating Willie Hutchinson accordingly. He's not no walkover. Willie Hutchinson, to me, is, a very, very well-equipped light heavyweight. He has speed. If he catch you right, he can hurt you. He goes to the body. He almost do a little bit of everything good. I wouldn't say extremely well. I respect him, but I'm not in all of him. You know what I mean? And what I respect even more is Ezra Taylor, my guy, his work rate. My guy, his discipline. My guy is going to stay focused. My guy is going to show humility. And that's what I'm looking forward to. It's a great fight, great matchup, but we're working hard and we'll see.
Discipline, work rate, humility, focus, everything you mentioned there are things that will be stated of both Zurdo Ramirez and David Benavidez. Were you impressed by Benavidez in his last fight against Anthony Yarde?
Yes, I don't think Benavidez ever had a fight that I wasn't impressed with. Even fights where he kind of go back and forth. If I ain't impressed with something he may be not doing right technically sound-wise, I'm impressed with his character. I'm impressed with his chin. I'm impressed with the way he fire right back off a return. So, I'm always impressed with him. That's why this fight right here has every good attribute that you could want in a good fighter. Anything you could think of that you wish your dream fighter have, both of these guys have it. Like both of them.
The outside factor of course, focusing on the fight itself is in the last fight, the referee allowed a number of punches to fly when Benavidez had hold of Anthony Yarde, which is...
No, Anthony Yarde was holding Benavidez, and Benavidez did something that I teach my fighters to do. Work your free hand. Don't make silent agreements when you're in the inside. The referees will get you killed if you don't protect yourself in the inside. The rule is, if you have one hand tied up, I can work this other hand. Benavidez just took it to another lovely level, and he continued to use it, continued to use it, until the ref pulled him off. And that just goes to show the mentality of that young man, Benavidez. He's not in that ring messing around. Anytime he can attack you, he's going to attack you. And this is a serious fight for Zurdo Ramirez, and he's handling it that way. He's approaching it that way. It's a very good fight.
Do you think you've seen a complete version of David? Do you think there are more levels to come from him?
That's a very good question. I don't know. That's a tough one, because it come across like that. Even if he's reached his ceiling right now, his ceiling, in my opinion, is enough to challenge Zurdo Ramirez in a very good fight. His ceiling, so far as I'm concerned, I could see Benavidez. I could see Benavidez or Zurdo giving Usyk a good fight, because they're smaller, they're a little bit more compact guys. They have the quick hands, and they could just, to me, keep up with that. So it's just one of those things. Like this fight has, to me, I'm trying to remember a fight that had every attribute that you wish a fight had, and this one has it.
I remember when Zurdo was coming up to the division, a lot of people were saying that maybe this is the time to get him because he might not have transitioned to the weight, he might still be a little bit fleshy or whatever, he might not be fully fledged at that weight. Those doubts were cast aside completely in his recent fights, but what do you think has been the key for him to bed so well in this division?
Zurdo.
Yeah.
His speed, his footwork, his body punching, his chin, his spirit, his will. He has so many just great attributes. He has so many. I don't know. In my opinion, for somehow he's underrated. I do not understand how Zurdo Ramirez is underrated at all. And they don't just underrate him when it comes to great opponents. They just really they don't get the system of Zurdo Ramirez and Julian Chua. They don't really understand it, but they will understand it against Benavidez, this fight coming up here, because what Benavidez did was he woke back up Zurdo's discipline side. He woke back up Zurdo focus side. He woke back up Zurdo dedication. You know what I mean? That the spirit that I'm seeing him train with every day in camp is very impressive. And he's going to need every bit of that spirit, because he's going against a monster. That name is so fitting. And Zurdo is well aware of what's coming.
take on your former charge, Deontay Wilder. I've spoken to a number of coaches who are held in high esteem, namely Buddy McGirt, Shane McGuigan. They both mentioned that the reason why Wilder isn't getting the knockouts that he was on the climb up is because they feel he doesn't punch with the conviction that he had before because he's worried about what's coming back. Is that the read you feel on Wilder and the punches or the knockouts not coming in his recent fights?
Well, consider the competition. Joe Parker has a very good chin. Big Jane, big imposing southpaw. The last person he knocked out was on my watch. That was scary. Robert Helenius. You got to consider the competition. You have to consider that Deontay is not 26 years old. He's not 36 years old anymore. He's on the second half of his career. And when you're on the second half of your career, things change. They just do. We're going to see, though, because he's in with Derek Chisora. And Derek Chisora is going to be right there for him. He's not going to have to look for him. Derek Chisora is actually going to come out looking for Deontay. And if Derek Chisora walk forward and run into the right hand, we may see Derek Chisora go to sleep again the way he did when Dylan White hit him with a left hook. So, we'll have to see. I can't really answer those questions. I know Deontay is still one of the hardest punchers in the history of the sport. I'm talking from a space of feeling the power, being his coach, watching what he did to sparring guys with 20-ounce gloves on. The power is real. It's about him delivering it at the perfect time. And, just really seeing what happens, man. Just seeing what's happening. I just believe Father Time is undefeated. He's on the second half of his career. And you got to consider the competition as well.
There's a big confrontation that was had in the UK on Talk between Simon Jordan and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
Simon wasn't essentially wanted to listen to Deontay's claims about the fight with Tyson Fury, which I think the conversation should happen, and Deontay Wilder should be able to state his case, because there has been stuff in the past that has happened with other fighters, of course, but so far, so as now, Deontay hasn't released any of that information or evidence, as he calls it. What do you think about that confrontation and Deontay's belief that he holds regarding Tyson Fury and the fights that they had?
Well, he's not saying that about Mother Teresa. If he was saying this about somebody that didn't have a track record of doing certain things, then I could see why people were like, oh, he's out of his mind. But he's saying this about Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury doesn't have the cleanest history of doing things. If we want to be technical, I've never seen those Paffin gloves bend like that. I still don't know why was the thumb unattached when he fought Christian Hammer. The time that he came in and got caught positive with all type of stuff in the system. So he's saying this about somebody that have a history of this. Deontay was in there feeling the punches. I wasn't in the ring with him when his hands was bending like the way how they was with those Paffin gloves. Deontay was. So he's a man, he's talking from a place of anger. He's talking from a place of warranted emotion. And that's just what I feel about it.
Last thing, I just wonder what you think about the current state of play with boxing over in the UK. Conor Benn has left Eddie Hearn to go and sign with Zuffa Boxing. It seems like that's an attractive place for fighters to go. Obviously being a former fighter yourself, what do you think about that and the claims from promoters that fighters should show loyalty as opposed to looking for what might be on the other side of the grass?
Yeah, I get both sides. Conor is a young man that has a family. Conor is a young man that he was on zero not too long ago, and things wasn't going his way. And this where it get tricky, because when he was on zero and things wasn't going his way, if you ask me one person that I believe that believed Conor, I would say Eddie Hearn. Now, we're in boxing, and Eddie Hearn was respecting a return in loyalty. We're in boxing. It really just don't go like that in this sport. And the first people to tell you this is promoters, is fighters, but then sometimes we all are human. You could get caught up in the journey with somebody else when you want them to do good. Not for you as well, because it's a business, but also for them and their family. And then when they do good and you stand by him, and Eddie is one of those really emotional promoters. He thrives hard with his guy. He cried with his fighters, won certain fights. He's really involved. And, I get why he feel hurt, but at the same time, I understand why Conor is not pushing away a deal that is a once in a lifetime thing. I get both sides, man. It's an unfortunate situation because it looked like Conor left somebody that was there with him when nobody was. And then on the other hand, it looked like Eddie Hearn is not understanding how business go. But you have to give him his credit. Eddie did say he blamed himself because he forgot he's in boxing. And, but the good thing is this. Conor Benn is in a good position, and Eddie Hearn is in a good position. Nobody was left out to dry. So God bless both of them. They both are still in winning position. They didn't get to do things together like they wanted to, but life goes on. And I think they have a show tonight, Warrington and they're Nottingham. Yeah, and life goes on. It's it's business.
Malik, I really appreciate your insights and your time. You're a gentleman. Thanks for speaking to Second Light, sir. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.